don't think there's a fly fisherman alive who doesn't enjoy sight fishing in all its various forms. For most, the species of fish is irrelevant. The challenge of getting a fly in front of a visibly cruising or feeding fish tends to override most prejudices. Carp are an introduced species in Australia. In the 5 decades since they first washed out of flooded farm dams into the Murray system, they've spread like a plague. This distribution was enhanced by carp enthusiasts and the simultaneous decline of native fish populations, especially the Murray cod. Carp have thrived in the shallow basin of several lowland impoundments, and Lake Keepit between Tamworth and Gunnedah is a great favourite. Eastern Australia is just coming out of a very severe 10-year drought. There's been a lot of rain up in the New England tablelands, flowing into the Namoy River, and the Namoy River is dammed by Lake Keepit. As the water level in the lake rises, this dam is actually infested with carp, and the carp are moving up with the water level and pushing right up into the grassland. They're not the only ones that are coming out to play. All the locals, all the bushies, are water skiing and having a wonderful time on the shores of Lake Keepit. But this is really special fishing. I really enjoy this. It's all sight fishing. The fish are feeding up in here. They're mooching around, poking in amongst the grass tussocks. It's very challenging because getting a fly to them and avoiding the grass is really difficult. What I'm doing is looking for them just outside the grass and waiting for them to swim through a clear patch, putting the fly into there and ambushing them. It's really exciting fishing. And of course, they're big, strong fish. Fishing with a light 5-weight rod, big, strong fish often get taken into the backing. Plenty of snags out there. It really is terrific fishing. Yeah. Oh. Wow. Oh. Bit of weed on the line out there. That was amazing. This fish was just cruising in amongst the tussocks and it disappeared between a couple of big clumps of grass. And so I put the fly, it was heading that direction, so I put the fly on the outside of it, outside of the tussocks, and it appeared from between them. Saw its yellow lips go, oh, bam, got him on. Spectacular. Oh, that's such a strong fish. So dogged. That first run can be very, very fast. I'm fishing a 5-weight Z-axis. You can get away with a 4 or a 3 or a 6. Not too important. I really like this rod because it's very good for short presentations. This water's a bit murky, so a lot of your casts are well inside 20 feet. Not too long. You don't need to cast long for these, just very accurately in amongst the grass. And one of the reasons I like this Z-axis so much is it's beautiful for short casts. The line I'm using is a Rio Gold, and it has a weight forward taper that carries the weight a fair way forward towards the front of the fly line. So it's also very good for short, close presentations. Very strong fish. There he goes again. Very strong, dogged, determined fish. You can come here and catch 20, 30 fish a day, and it's all sight fishing. All wading the shallows like this. You don't need a boat, you can just drive to the shore here. Walk in the shallows. It's particularly good when the water level's rising. That's when the fish really push in here to feed. And it's best through the summer months. November, December here, you get the big spawning aggregations of the fish in the shallows. That's a good time to fish for them. But through the summer months, and it really is sort of gentlemen's hours. They start feeding around 10 in the morning when the margins begin to warm up. The nights are cool here in the inland, so the water temperature in the shallows drops during the night, and the fish will begin to move in here in the morning. Sort of mid-morning as the temperature starts to rise and the shallows warm up. And it's right through the day fishing. Usually by 3 or 4 o'clock it's all over. Great hours, I like those sorts of hours. There he is, a solid carp. They all average this size. taking me through the weeds. The current New South Wales fisheries policy on these fish is that they are a declared noxious species, but they sort of decided that there's no point in us killing them because the number of fishermen actually out fishing for them is not going to do any damage to the population whatsoever, and rather than just toss them up the bank and have them rotting on the bank, they don't mind if you let them go. Certainly if you had a facility to remove them, then do that, but I'm going to let this fish go. Now they have no spiky bits on them, so you can get a thumb grip on them and just let them go. Pull the fly out and let them go. Choice of fly is simple. These springtime fish are hungry, and amongst the grass and weeds, one fly stands out. It's a well-hackled woolly worm. The hackle means it can be sunk in amongst the flooded grass without the fly fouling all the time. Carp also like a slow sinking fly, and the wound hackle on this fly suspends it right in their face. Few fish can eject a fly quicker than a carp. The key to hooking them up is to twitch the fly right in front of them and then watch for their yellow lips to move as they suck it in. Seagulls are coming in for a look. Door fighting fish. Usually get a couple of good runs out of them, and then it's a real slugfest being close. I'm only using a 5-weight because there's some big carp in here. You can certainly fish a lot lighter, and you want a reasonably solid tippet. 8-pound fluorocarbon in this case, simply because there are big fish. Great fish. Here we go. Not considered a classic sport or game fish, but I tell you what, they're a hell of a lot of fun, particularly sight fishing. A wonderful fish for those who want to get into sight fishing. You know, there's a tremendous training ground for barramundi fishermen and bonefish fishermen and trout fishermen and all of those species where we like to sight fish and chase on the flats. There's nothing better than these for practicing that sort of fishing with. There's so many of them, and you can hone your responses and your sighting and your casting on these fish, and you get dozens and dozens of opportunities in a day. And from that perspective alone, I think they're a great fish. No problem with them whatsoever. Johnny Hamparsum is a local farmer and is also a keen fly fisherman. His son Ben is just discovering the fun you can have with a dam full of hungry fish and a fly rod. Now I'm going to show you how to set this up on the rod. Now this is important, okay? Because this will get you into the fishing quickly. Hold the fly in your hand, put the fly, the hook up in one of the guides up there, then take the line down around the reel, and then just wind the slack out of it. Now the reason we set it up like that, as you can see here, we've already got, you know, 1.5 meters of fly line out the end of the rod. When we see a fish, here comes a fish, Ben. You drop the leader off the reel, you just give the rod a tap, the fly jumps off, and you're straight into it. Yep. Okay? And there's already some fly line out the end of the rod. If you don't have fly line already out the end of the rod, this is what happens. And I bet you've seen this happen. I bet you've seen your dad do that all the time. The line slides down through the rod, and then the fly's at the end of the rod. Now with the fly at the end of the rod like that, there's nothing you can do. You can't make a cast. So you've got to do this, pull it out, pull some line out, and by then, of course, the fish might be gone. Okay, so we pull some line out. I'll set that up again. catch the fly, hold the rod into the breeze and the line will just blow back at you. Okay, so we'll take the fly up on here, do that again, hook it on the guide, around the reel, wind the slack out of it. We're ready to go.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's your rod. There's just so many of these fish in our inland waterways. They're an outstanding species for introducing youngsters to this sport. Most kids need big numbers of fish to keep them engaged, but best of all, with these carp, they can get to see them first. And if that excites older adults, it's just sheer magic for youngsters like Ben. It was only minutes before we found another one.
Out there.
Just over there, the other, there he is. Yep. See him there?
Straight ahead, Ben. Two of them. Bit further.
Two hands. Oh, let it sink there.
Oh, rod tip down.
Hands, mate. Rod tip down, that's it.
More line out. Pull a bit more line out.
Going that way.
Yeah. Cast that way, Benny. Straight up there. Big cast. There's something been stirring the water up here.
Very important, Ben, that when your fly lands, you don't lift the rod. Okay, so what happens when the fly lands, if you lift the rod, you've just pulled the fly 3 feet this way, haven't you? See what I mean?
Yep.
When the fly lands, you leave your rod tip right down like that, immediately. So you put the fly down and the rod just stops dead. You don't put the fly down and then lift the rod, because you've just dragged the fly out of the zone. There you go.
Especially with a good cast like you just did.
Yeah, that was right on the fish. Then you lifted the rod and moved the fly. Woo!
Just let him go, let him go. You got him?
Woohoo, Benny! Well done.
That's it. Use your palm of your hand against the reel when he runs.
Know when he takes off to let the reel go, don't you? That's good work there. Nice and high. That's it. Try and keep it clear of the weeds and stuff. The line. That's it. Get your knuckles? Excellent. Good on you. Dad's taught you well.
It's a painful experience, but he learned.
Yeah. I think it's one of the first lessons in fly fishing, isn't it? Get your knuckles out of the way when the fish takes off. There's another one coming in for a look at what's going on. Want me to land that for you, mate? Probably going to take off. Nice fish. Okay, pull some line off the reel. Okay. See my rod, John? See what it does. Bogers are good for this, aren't they? Come on, hold still.
He's a big fish you got there.
All right. Now what are you?
Put a hand under it, Eddie.
What are you do? Stick a hand under his belly.
Feel the weight of it up. Isn't he heavy?
There we go. Are you ready?
Yep.
I'm going to let you hold it. It's probably going to fall off in the water.
You got him?
Oh, there we are.
You ready? Let him go.
So although they're a reviled and noxious species in this country, these European carp can still have a part to play, whether it's honing our own skills or introducing the next generation to the fun of fly fishing.